Well, hello to all of you. I'm Rebecca Sweeney, Senior Director of Programs and Policy for the Wisconsin Cheesemakers Association. And thank you so much for making time to join in this WCMA members only webinar focused on how you can establish and maintain an impactful internship program. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. First, please be sure that you are muted if you're not presenting so that we can avoid interruptions. And if you have any questions during today's program, please type them into the chat box in your Zoom control panel. Now here's a look at what we're going to be covering today. We'll begin with Internships 101, a look at the benefits of an internship program, as well as reasonable expectations for interns and employers and available resources. That will be brought to us by the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development. And then we're going to share an industry success story as Grande Cheese Company offers us insight into its internship program. We're going to close today with some questions and answers, beginning with those that were pre-submitted by members. We are fortunate today to be joined by two guest presenters, and it's my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Timothy Straight, who is coordinator of the Wisconsin Internship Initiative at the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development. Tim has presented to WCMA members in the past. We've been very fortunate to work with him over the past 5 years, and he's partnered with several WCMA members to grow and develop their internship programs. And Tim's going to talk a little bit about that today. Tim, thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise with all of us.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to this. When I spoke in person at one of the cheesemakers conventions, not only was the cheese awesome, but the audience was awesome as well. There was just amazing questions, and I am honored to do this. When Rebecca contacted me, she wanted me to talk a little bit from the ground up. How do you start an internship program? What is it that you need to know? What are some insights from the field that you might be able to take and apply? And I am happy to do that today. One of the things that I want to start with, for those of you who may not be aware of our internship site, it's WisConnect. Our website was a culmination of Wisconsin Act 283. It was initially developed to keep Wisconsin's best and brightest within the state. Our mission has kind of expanded a little bit. Rather than keeping students in the state of Wisconsin, now we're being a little bit more aggressive in helping employers go out and find the best candidates. Certainly the labor market has changed in the last 5 years. We are aware of that, and we are able to do some outreach and some work with employers. All you need to do is ask, and I am happy, and we are happy as an agency to help you find interns and keep interns. One of the things that we know from going out and talking to individuals and talking to businesses is the fact that students want to be part of a company. They want to try on a career. And for employers, when you get to train someone up to the system, you have better insight as to whether or not this student will match your company values. You get to see what the student is like, what their work ethic is, and the student gets to determine whether they see a good fit in here within the company. That is golden. Imagine the extent to which that will cut back your recruitment time, your time to fill the open positions. This is something that is certainly worth your time and effort on the front end to build an internship program. Part of the upside of hiring interns, we have a national association called NACE, the National Association for Employers and Colleges, and they publish some annual statistics. Employers who indicate about 75% of employers indicate that internships are a critical, if not primary, way to recruit employees. We know about 67% of employees who extend a full-time job offer to their interns, that job offer will be accepted. And while this, I'm going to share a newer statistic here. Of that 50, I'm sorry, what of that 67% of interns that accept the full-time job offer, 71% are still with the organization in year two, and it actually increases very nicely. I'm waiting for those statistics to be a little bit more robust, but after they're in, they've done their internship with you. If you extend an offer to hire them full time, your retention is going to increase dramatically. We see that here when I'm out at events. We have former interns coming and talking to us. They found their internship through WisConnect. We have employers coming up to us and talking about, as Rebecca mentioned, the power of internships and why we're here talking to you today. But how do you find them? Where do you find them? What can you do to get them in the door? A couple gold standards that we know work very, very well. First and foremost, one of the things I'd like to impress on you is you do not need to recreate the wheel. Colleges and universities have entire departments that their primary role is to get students into internships. The other terms, if you hear these, not to insult, but we're starting to kind of develop some new lingo around internships. A lot of colleges are abandoning the term internship and they're calling it an experiential learning activity. An internship by every other stretch of the imagination, but colleges and universities are using that angle to increase the students' experiential learning, put into practice what they learned in the classroom out in the world of work. It's getting to be kind of a hot button issue. The other thing, and this is really fascinating, I did a white paper on this last year. Maybe some of you have heard the term, maybe you haven't, but a new development within colleges and this very interesting population of returning adult learners, a new term has been coined, a returnship. And what that involves, pretty slick. People that are interested in changing careers, maybe they've been voluntarily out of the job market for a while. Usually, the limited data that we have on returnships right now, mostly it's women, although not exclusively. They have been out of the labor market by choice, and we certainly don't want to have any value judgment on that. Some people, men and women, will want to attend to their children and focus on that. But when they're ready, they maybe have come to the conclusion that what they were doing before is not exactly igniting that passion within them. And so they're looking for new careers, and that can be kind of daunting as an adult learner, someone that wants to change careers. I would be remiss if I didn't say the people that I've talked to that have done returnships, it has been nothing but a win-win proposition. You have someone that knows what it's like to be in the world of work. They have some wonderful backup experience, a wealth of experience, and they want to apply it in new situations. It is a little off-putting for some employers, but I would encourage you to be open to the possibility of evaluating an adult learner, someone that wants to return to the world of work in a new career. Um, People that I have talked to about this have been very, very pleasantly surprised by the experience of developing a returnship. My contact information is out there. You can email me. We have changed our phone systems, so those are kind of in the process, but certainly just reach out by email and I will be more than happy to work with you. And it will be an honor to do that. Absolutely.
Well, maybe we should give the folks a sample of how you've partnered actually within the dairy processing industry. to support successful
Mhm.
internships.
Yep. And so Rebecca is going to be queuing up the video, but from the beginning, literally from the beginning of our initiative here, Sargento Cheese has been an extremely willing partner. We talked to them a lot in developing the website. We beta tested with Sargento because, again, they were just so eager to be a part of it. We were fortunate enough for them to agree to do this promotional video regarding internships. And we would like to share that with you. And hopefully you can find at least some of your peers in the industry, what their experience has been. So we will go ahead and play the Sargento video.
Wisconsin now offers WisConnect, a free online resource matching college students with employer internships. Available at internshipwisconsin.com, WisConnect attracts and retains talent by building professional networks, job skills, and careers.
You can get in there and you can prove yourself to the people you're working with and build your relationships and build your network so that when the time comes to apply for a full-time position, they remember who you are and what your work ethic was.
3 years ago, Leah Iacco interned at Sargento Foods in Plymouth, Wisconsin. She learned then that she could apply her passions for chemistry and culinary arts toward a rewarding career. After earning a food science degree at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, she is back at Sargento, working as an associate food scientist. On WisConnect, college students and employers like Iacco and Sargento search to match internships and candidates by location, major, and key skills. The site is open to all college students with the .edu email address.
Having a chance to be an intern gives you the confidence that you're going into the field that you want to be in.
Sheena Cleary agrees. She's a UW-Madison student interning at Sargento in the accounting and finance department.
I've found my niche in that it's what I like to do.
Like Iacco, Cleary has found experienced, caring mentors and a welcoming culture at Sargento.
And I ultimately looked for a company that had a great culture and was going to be a place that would be supportive and let me learn as much as I can.
Jay Vu is the Director of Corporate Engineering at Sargento. He works on the department's internship planning team and serves as a student supervisor and mentor.
They allow us to be mentors. They allow us to teach them and to coach them. So for us, it's really that piece that's an added value, to be a mentor.
Sargento CEO Louis Gentine says internship programs are crucial now when the U.S. workforce is in transition.
It's talent attraction, but again, as our manufacturing systems continue to evolve, the technology continues to evolve, we need to really make sure that we have the right skill sets and the right people to be able to operate that new technology.
Still, he advises companies to plan internship programs well and to use WisConnect to recruit interns.
We take a lot of time to make sure that when we want to take on an intern, that we have the right program in place.
And to Gentine, the state effort is essential.
We're a state that has some great companies and great businesses, and the more that we can do to help attract people to our state, the more that we can develop those that are currently living in our state to stay home and work for some of these great companies. It's in all of our best interests.
Thank you, Rebecca. Now, to just go ahead and summarize this up, my portion of my time with you. Number one, reach out to your colleges and universities. They will have people that are very eager to help you set up an internship. They will have they've done this for years in most cases. They want to help. You don't need to do it alone. Number two, I am a resource. We are a resource here at DWD. outreach and working with employers is an honor for me to do, and I would be happy to assist in whatever way that I can to increase internships and to help you develop a program. And then the third thing that I would like to just reiterate is in these very, very confusing times, what we've come through and what we're going to be going into, do not be afraid, do not shy away from being creative in the way that you attract people and attract interns. Chances are very high that if you've got an intern, train them up to the system, get to know how they work, they're going to be a full-time employee. If you extend that offer of full-time work, more often than not, they're going to accept that, and you will have a person that's, as I say, already trained up to the system. I'm staying on, and I will be happy to answer any other questions. And I think we'll turn this back to Rebecca right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
And
yeah.
absolutely.
And I have to say that we know that you've worked with a number of our member organizations, and I put your email address in the chat for everyone to see. So if you happen to be a Wisconsin-based company or cooperative, highly recommend that you reach out to Tim directly and to engage in the WisConnect program. But we do have two speakers with us today, and we're also joined today by Jill Swanson, who is a Human Resources Talent Acquisition Partner with WCMA member Grande Cheese Company. And a lot of you on the line right now are human resources leaders. So you know that she's a person who has her work cut out for her right now amid the Great Resignation and a continuing labor shortage. But Jill has found a variety of paths to success in her mission, including Grande's internship program. Jill, I want to thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about our program. It's something that is near and dear to my heart. It is something that continues to grow and expand year after year. So essentially, I plan to give you a general kind of overview of our program, the expectations that we set for our managers and mentors, and share some best practices. And then we also have one of our former interns on the call with us today, Cade Christensen. So you'll be able to hear from him just kind of what his experience was as a Grande intern. So kind of like I said, for a general overview, typically we have about 20 interns with us each summer. I will say it has not always been that way. Our first year of having an internship program, we had one intern. And then, you know, the next year it grew to 3, and then it was 5. And now we've built up to a point where we are recruiting for 22 interns for next summer. So it definitely has grown and expanded over the years to be what it is today. So typically our duration is mid-May to middle to end of August. We really like all of our interns to start on the same day. It just really sets the tone for them for the summer. It gives them that network right on day one. They know that they are amongst other interns. They can start kind of team building with one another. We do kind of a right start orientation with them, and then just lunch and team building activities for the afternoon, just to really get them comfortable with each other. So one of my best practices is really trying to get interns to start on the same day so they can form that camaraderie right away. And then, like I said, kind of middle to end of August, we wrap it up as they're going back to school. Events is something I find really, really helpful for our internship program. So we actually do weekly events with our interns that are focused on both personal and professional development. I'll go a little bit more in depth to some of the events later on in the presentation, but it's a way, again, personal and professional development, but a way to just bring the interns back together on a weekly basis so they can continue to network with one another, kind of understand what each other's working on so they can understand really how the whole business works together and how other functions work within the business. Maybe they're working cross-functionally and they can see that, but just hearing about others' projects, I think, is really helpful. One other thing we recently started offering, which has been really helpful to us, is a housing stipend. So We offer interns that live greater than 45 miles away from the facility that they're working at. We offer housing to them. It's been beneficial for us in the sense that it's kind of expanded our reach, and has also, we've kind of used it as a tool of attraction to bring students that maybe are at schools that are further away from, most of our interns are at our home office, but also other facilities, just bringing them to the Fond du Lac location and being able to experience that. And then as far as recruiting, we typically do all of our recruiting during fall and winter of the year prior to the internship. So we are in full recruitment mode right now for our 2022 interns. So we attend fall career fairs and then kind of move through the interview process, like I said, through fall and winter. So how do we determine which internships we'll have each year? We actually put into practice a formal request process. So we send this out to all of our functions, all of our functional leaders, and we have them fill out a formal request to have an intern for the coming year. We want to make sure that each department has a dedicated manager and mentor within their function that can support an intern. First and foremost, it is so important that the intern coming in has the support to really go through an entire summer. Of course, is there meaningful work to be done by an intern? We never want an intern to come in and feel like they are filing paper or just entering data, anything like that. We truly want it to be a meaningful experience for them. So do we have projects that they can be involved in, other things like that? And then is there a genuine business need in that function for an intern? Typically, the answer there is yes, just with the industry and growth and things like that, there's always going to be a genuine business need. But again, if that wasn't there, we would never want to put an intern into a role that we just didn't feel like we could support or make meaningful for them. How we recruit. So number one is career and internship fairs. Like I said, we do those every fall. Every once in a while we'll participate in the spring, but our goal is really to have all of our internships for the following summer filled the fall and winter before. Number two is our own associates. So we definitely encourage anybody that is in a production role currently going to school to apply for our internships. That's a great learning opportunity for them. It's great for us. They're already a Grande associate. They know the culture of the company. They know the company. So that's always really great. And then associate referrals as well. A lot of our associates have kids or neighbors, things like that are in school and ready for an internship. So we certainly recruit quite a bit that way. And then kind of final, if we're just not finding a student through a career fair or an associate referral, we'll post to our actual career site. But typically we have really good luck with attending career fairs and then our associate referrals. And then I did put a helpful hint on there. We, within the past few years, we really ramped up the different types of recruiting materials that we bring to career fairs. And we put together a really nice brochure that talked all about our internship program, has pictures, and it's been a good tool for us to engage students so they can read about the program after they've met with me, but they've also met with so many other companies at these career fairs. So it's something they can truly take away and revisit once they are back in their apartment or dorm room and really take a deeper dive into what our program truly is. So that's been really helpful for us. Benefits of the program. So there are benefits to Grande and certainly benefits to the intern. So for Grande, it allows for growth of future associates. So we love to be able to hire our interns. That internship program is really giving them the initial experience and learning about Grande, learning about what they want to do with their career. And it just really, when we can hire them from there, it's like they've already got a lot under their belt coming into a full-time role with us. They also have a fresh perspective coming out of school. They have so much that they can teach us, which is amazing. It's been amazing. They do it all throughout their internship program. We have them do presentations at the end, and I cannot tell you how much they teach us all at the end of the summer. It assists with our own succession planning process when we can bring people in those entry-level roles and see where they may go in a career path. And then brings entry-level associates in to complete entry-level jobs, as simple as that. Benefits to the intern. So professional growth in a hands-on environment. So education is amazing and they learn so much. And then to be able to come into the real world and apply it, it's very different. We all know that education coming into the real world, it's two totally different things. And for them to watch them apply it is truly amazing. So definitely a benefit to them. It assists in refining their career goals. So there have been plenty of times where we've had an intern come in and they've kind of gone through the program, and we try to make them diverse. So we'll take finance, for example. They're not just going to focus on accounting. They're really going to get experience in all different areas of finance. And there have been so many times where they're like, I thought I wanted to do this. And after this internship experience, I really found that I love this. So it does help them kind of refine what they want to do when they graduate. And then just helps them learn how to transition once they do graduate, how they transition into the work setting. So now kind of for manager, like I said, we have managers and mentors. So we do set kind of specific expectations for our managers and mentors. For the manager, it's just ensuring that they are providing meaningful, challenging work that is truly helping the intern grow in a professional way. Making sure the work is relevant to their area of study. We never want an intern to come in and feel like they're doing all this work, but it's really not pertaining to what they're going to school for or what they're studying in school. We want to make sure that it's a good fit in that sense. And then providing regular feedback to them. So an internship is really a short time frame. It's just 3 months, but they really do learn so much in that time. And so being able to meet with them on a very regular basis to provide feedback on what's going well, or understanding what else they may want to learn in as well. So those are kind of the expectations for managers. And then mentors, they are meant to kind of be a friend, we'll say, for our interns. So somebody that our interns can go to for personal development and also professional development, and just really somebody who can help acquaint them into the workplace. So they may work on setting up meetings for the intern to meet with people within the team or cross-functional. They may work on projects together really, really closely. So again, just kind of meant to be a friend and that personal and professional resource. Connections are super, super important. Something we really try to drive home with both managers and mentors, that they are connecting with their intern to make sure that the intern feels supported, and that, you know, the work they're doing is important to the organization. So we really encourage them to meet weekly or bi-weekly at the very least. Hopefully those are happening in person. But then also just routine daily check-ins, whether that's virtual, in person, a quick phone call, depending on if the days are crazy busy, but just a quick check-in to make sure, again, that support is there if it's needed. And then we always try to just encourage our managers and mentors to be creative with these meetings, so they don't feel redundant or anything like that, and just a little bit more engaging. So whether that's going for a walk, taking lunch together, meeting outside, it doesn't always have to be like that, but putting those in from time to time. And then also one thing we really try to have our managers and mentors do is set goals for the interns. I think that's important, just so managers, mentors, and interns are all on the same page for the summer, but it also gives the interns a look into the real world, because at most companies, once you get into your role, you're going to be setting goals and going through performance management. So it's kind of a mini lesson in performance management, if you will. So setting those goals around both personal and professional development, making sure it is something that is attainable, of course, for the intern in a short amount of time. And also checking with them. A lot of students have goals that they have to meet for school. So if we can somehow help assist with that, that's really helpful as well. So, and then just doing bi-weekly check-ins and then a semi-formal review midsummer and end of summer. So the interns know how they performed overall. Finally, make it fun. So this can be done if you have 1 intern or 22 interns. So really engaging the whole team or the whole, if it's a smaller office, engage the whole office in the internship experience. Like I said, all of our interns have a manager and mentor, but we really, really like when the whole team can get involved. And, you know, I have a couple examples there. Go out to a team lunch, create an icebreaker event, do trivia with the team every other week or something like that. I mentioned earlier that we do intern events on a weekly basis. It doesn't have to be weekly. It's just something to keep them engaged, keep them networking with each other. I included some examples of things we do. Again, some of these can be done with groups as small as 2 or 3 people, all the way up to, we do it with 22 interns. So they really can work for any size group. So we do, everyone's favorite is always the pizza making competition. Very, very fun. One of my favorites too. And then we do a resume review. We do that towards the end of the summer so they can include their Grande experience on their resumes. But that just kind of helps set them up for when they are looking for full-time work. We do farm and facility tours so they can really see from, you know, where we get our milk from to where it's being made. We've done escape rooms in the past. We do a business overview presentation, which really takes them through, they meet with all of the executives of the organization and each executive talks about what their function does so they can truly see how the full business functions together. Community is really, really important to Grande. So we always try to incorporate a community event in the summer where they're volunteering, giving back. Product sampling, of course, they need to be familiar with our products. That's always a fun one too. At the end of the summer, we do presentations and then we follow it up with a social event where we invite managers, mentors, executives, the interns, and it's just a really fun way to wrap up the summer. So, and that is just a small list. There's so much more you can do. But as I mentioned earlier, we do a Cade with us to kind of just give an overview of how his experience was as our milk marketing intern this past summer. So I'll turn it over to Cade.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cade Christensen. I am a senior at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. I'm studying egg business and animal science. And I was a milk marketing intern for 2021. So the first thing that I want to talk about with Grande and internships is culture. Culture is a word that's used daily at Grande and was used a lot at the beginning of our internship experience. And I think for a young person who's not necessarily been in the workplace, culture can be hard to understand. It's hard to measure, but it was certainly present within the internship experience with all the different events that we had. Jill touched on a lot of them, but the pizza making was certainly something that brought together the interns as a community. And I didn't really expect that with internship experience. You know, my expectation was I'm going to be the milk marketing intern. I'm going to work with the milk marketing department. And if I see the other interns around, great. But we actually became a close-knit group and did stuff outside of just Grande as well in our free time. So that was pretty cool. The culture is also forwarded with the associates. They're very willing to give time and knowledge to you, even if they have a busy day. Anyone would be willing to sit down and have some sort of conversation with you. And I think that's very powerful as well. It shows that, hey, you're not an intern, you're one of us. And that helps form that culture as well. And culture is something that's very attractive. When you look at a company, it's something that young employees coming out of college are going to want. They want a place that's fun to be at. They want to enjoy going to work. And I think Grande did a great job of that. Second part I want to highlight is the mentor program. So we met with our mentors on the first day and I formed a great relationship with mine. He was 67 years old. So that was kind of cool to get a different perspective on life. We became very close, talked every day. And the knowledge that I got from him was great. And he transitioned me into the milk marketing program, and was kind of my beginnings. So my first week pretty much did ride-alongs with my mentor, my manager, and the other two members of the milk marketing team, the field reps. And then after that, they turned me loose pretty quick. By the second week, I was scheduling farm visits, calling farms, and really on my own. And I appreciated that. That helped me build a lot of my personal skills with scheduling and being able to have conversations with strangers. It's not necessarily easy to just cold call any old farmer. You never know what you're going to get, but that was great. And the last part that Grande provided with me was opportunities. Not only with these intern events are you able to build personal skills, but you're able to have one-on-one conversations with the CEO of Grande, the CFO of Grande. Very prestigious positions that a lot of times would be viewed as intimidating, but instead you're making pizza for them and sitting down and having a conversation. That brings it very down to earth, takes away the intimidation factor, and it also is a great opportunity for networking with some very important people in the cheese industry. That shows you as well that this is a mutually benefiting relationship. It's not, hey, you're an intern, we're going to have you come in here and do all this dirt work that no one else wants to do, and we'll pay you a little bit of money too. You know, this is an experience where I'm bettering myself and I'm also helping Grande. And I think that forwarded the mission of the intern program very well. Another opportunity that I got was I was able to ride along with the federal surveyor on multiple occasions. And that was great because survey regulations, PMO regulations were something that I wasn't extremely familiar with before the internship program. But I was able to go side by side with the federal survey officer as we walked through, I'm going to say 20 some different farms, pick his brain, look at what he's looking at on a survey experience. And then from that, Jill talked about finding your career from the internship. And I learned that, hey, I'd really like to be a field rep for my full-time job. And maybe I didn't necessarily know that. I knew I wanted to be in dairy before my internship experience, but having an internship experience can either turn you on or off of a particular employment opportunity for sure. But overall, I was thrilled with my internship experience, and I would suggest it to anyone who's interested for sure. And I think Grande did a great job.
Oh my goodness, Kate, who wouldn't want to intern at Grande? Jill, you're doing fabulous work there.
Thank you, Cade.
And I really want to stress to folks that, you know, Jill, you so helpfully shared little pieces of information about ways to make an internship more meaningful, more interesting, more fun. And you can do all the things that Grande does, or maybe you can pick and choose one or two things that you could do with just a couple of interns to get things started. But I think we could all hear in Cade's voice the affinity he has now for Grande, as well as his chosen field of work. And that has to be incredibly gratifying to you, Jill, and super impactful to your attraction efforts for an emerging workforce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Jill and Kate, and also Dr. Straight. And thank you for saying that you'll field questions from our members. We do have a few that were pre-submitted, but I want to invite members who are on the call right now, on the Zoom right now, to share their questions in the chat as well. We will start with those that were pre-submitted. Our first question from members is, how do you determine how much to pay an intern? I'll give you the context here. The concern is that this member wants to make sure that their staff is paid more than an intern is paid, but they're just not sure how to gauge where exactly that number should land. So any insight on that from either you, Tim, or Jill?
Well, I can start. The pay range is, of course, subjected to local conditions, precedent within the organization, so on and so forth. There is DOL guidance because some internships are unpaid. I will tell you that as of this morning, I'm just looking over 87% of the internships that are listed on WisConnect are paid internships right now. And I would, we periodically go through and do an average and a mean wage. And I would say it's been a couple weeks since we've done that, but around the $12 to $14 an hour range is what we typically see. The highest that we've ever had on WisConnect was $27 per hour. That was for a very, very unique internship that they just really needed to have some things that just simply were hard to find. But I would say again, somewhere in that 12 to 14, somewhere in there, you'd be a pretty safe range to focus on.
Jill, do you agree with that? Is that what you're seeing out there as well?
So we have a compensation team within HR, and I come to them each year and ask them just to give me an updated kind of list of rates that they would recommend. I do know they use compensation resources and NACE as two of their kind of resources that they collect survey data from, and then they kind of evaluate based on market and rates. And like I said, that's done on a yearly basis. I will say that typically, for most of our interns, we're paying slightly higher than that 12 to 14 range, but we've always gotten really good feedback from our interns on what their comp has been. But again, our comp team just uses those two resources typically.
And I think an important component to any internship listing is certainly detailing the wages that you're planning to offer, but also the other kinds of compensation, which are direct experiences, access to industry, things that these students can put on their resumes, because anybody could go to Target today and get a job paying $15 an hour. Somebody's really getting an internship so that they can gain that valuable experience and get a leg up as they enter the working world. So both are critically important in a listing. Mm-hmm. The next question we have is, how are you finding interns? Isn't this the magic silver bullet question, right? We offer internships, but we've had very few people apply. So I think this is of particular interest to folks who have never really had an internship program before. It's where do you start? And Tim, why don't we start with you, because you have a website dedicated to this.
Yes. So that is WisConnect. We have down at the bottom, we call them the flip cards that you can find average wage information. So there are those resources there that are available. Where we typically see issues where employers may not get the pool of candidates are those situations where either the internship position announcement was so detailed that almost it became overwhelming. We have actually heard that a couple times. I think what was really going on there is they wanted, these employers wanted to get the best candidate as quickly as they can. And so detail, yes, absolutely, you need some detail. But I would say with respect to internships, and I hope that we have an opportunity to kind of expand on this, but how is it going to directly benefit the intern or their course of study? If you can establish that link and if you can highlight that link in starting even with the position announcement, I think you're going to have a better pool of people to draw from. So enough detail, but not so much detail that it would be overwhelming. And then paying attention to that labor market data. We have an entire team here at DWD, and they put that out for employers in Wisconsin, and it's free, and it's good, and it's solid data, and it's up to the minute as well.
And Jill, in your presentation, you offered really practical advice on how to find interns, where to post these listings. Can you just review that for us one more time? Because I think that's really what folks are looking for here. They're trying to figure out, where do I go?
Yeah. So like I said, career fairs are kind of our number one, career and internship fairs are our number one resource that we use. Along with that is, it's called Handshake. And pretty much every UW university utilizes it, but there are plenty of other universities that utilize it as well. And that's actually where you have to register for career fairs through. So these students are automatically seeing your job posting right through Handshake. But you can kind of drive down into Handshake too, depending on how in depth you want to get with it. But that's a really good resource too, because it's tied directly to their university. And that's typically where they have to register for career fairs as well, is through Handshake. So it's just a good platform to utilize. You can also post positions directly out there. So they can see that you're going to be at the career fair and this is what you're recruiting for, but you can post a full position there as well. And then again, having a handout, something that they can take away that is really enticing to your program, and really taking a deep dive and showing pictures and having testimonials from past interns, giving them something to take away at career fairs has been really, really helpful. Ever since we implemented that, I've seen an uptick in the number of applicants we get for each internship. Because like I said, they talk to so many people, so many companies at the career fair. So the companies that have something that they can take away, I think, is where they probably spend a little bit more of their time actually applying. And then for more difficult to fill roles that are maybe just a little bit more niche, or we're just not seeing the amount of applicants we want to see, we will connect directly with universities and specific programs within those universities. Usually I'll start with the career services office, and then they'll get me in touch with a professor in a specific department to kind of just mention to them that we have this internship opportunity. We're looking for students that are interested. And that's been really helpful for us in the past too, with some of those more difficult to fill internships.
I want to share this
No.
thought too. We
Yep.
do have some members who have reached out, even at the high school level, to some of the career counselors because they're open to high school interns as well as college interns. So specifically for some of those jobs that are a little bit more hands-on and may not require you to have already been through some college classes for accounting or marketing, something like that, that's been a useful tool as well. We have a couple more questions to get through, and so I'll rapid fire these last ones at our panel here. How often do you provide formal feedback for interns? Jill, you laid that out very clearly in your presentation. Daily check-ins, weekly or bi-weekly talks, and twice throughout the internship sort of reviews.
Yeah.
Kate,
Yeah.
what was that experience like for you? Did you feel like that was enough feedback?
Oh, I got plenty of feedback. Yeah. Like I said, the milk marketing team at Grande is very close. So if I didn't see my mentor every day, I certainly had a phone call with them, and I probably had a phone call with the 3 other field reps as well every day. And then probably bi-weekly, a mentor and I went to lunch. And you don't have to have a formal sit down check-in either. You know, check-ins are text, calls, emails. And I definitely have plenty of feedback. So that was great to know where I was at.
And I'm
if
sure
I
that
can
this
just
can
jump
be
in, yeah.
yes, please, Dr. Straight.
Yeah. So another breakdown, there are situations where the intern is taking the internship for credit. And that's a different layer that you need to be aware of, not be afraid of, but just to be aware of. If they are getting credit for the internship, then a faculty member will be in touch, certainly with the student, but also the person that is designated as their supervisor. A lot of times the HLC requires, this is going to be changing in the next couple of years, but the HLC, the Higher Learning Commission, dictates that if you are getting a 4-credit internship, a faculty member actually has to come on site and visit, and that's where you're meeting with the professor is meeting with the student, the professor is meeting with the individual that's doing the internship as well. Again, nothing to be afraid of. It is a Higher Learning Commission requirement in the event that the internship is bearing credit. But I would agree, the bi-weekly, the check-in, I think that is a best practice across the board.
That's great. This one's a sticky question. I think that people run into it pretty frequently when they're setting up internship programs. Some of the interns we've had seem to expect a more glamorous experience than what we can offer. How can I help set reasonable expectations for prospective interns before they start? I'd love to pose this one to Jill. Joe, how do you, I mean, I do think that you offer a lot of really fun opportunities, but I bet there's some nitty gritty work to be done too. So how do you set the tone?
So I start setting that tone really at the career fairs when I'm first talking to them. I do tell them all about the fun things that we do, but I also tell them about the work and how we try to make it meaningful and challenging for them. And, it's not something that they'll come in and just be filing papers or anything like that. It is meant to be challenging work. But I think also, the question basically, they're expecting a more glamorous experience than what we can offer. But I think some of those events that I went through, I think can easily be done with a really small group. Even if it's just one, you still have the opportunity to involve them with a team lunch, team trivia, just different things like that to kind of make it a little bit more than just the day-to-day work. And I think a lot of interns, they're just simply looking for something that is fun and engaging and an exciting place to work. So I think just trying to offer some of those things doesn't have to be weekly, doesn't have to be with a big group of people. I think a lot of them can be implemented with a smaller group too. So maybe taking some of those little tidbits and plopping them in for random weeks throughout the summer could be really helpful in that.
And I think this is also about keeping eyes on the prize here. Our goal is to get people to want to work in the dairy processing industry and to perhaps stay with our own company. So sometimes it's about getting over our own biases about what our own internship experience was like, or whether we were treated with any sort of special considerations when we got started in the industry. Sometimes we have to set those things aside to be really competitive. Our final question here, we want to use an internship program as a recruitment tool. Any tips for getting interns to stay with us after their semester's done? I think we've touched on some of these topics, but maybe one key thought from each of our panelists on their hottest tip for getting an intern to stay with them after a semester, or Cade, what you'd advise an employer to do?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is making that position attractive. How do you do that? It's by making a culture and by listening to the intern's going to have feedback, and the intern's going to say, this could be better, or I enjoyed this. So taking that and modifying that and showing the intern that they matter is going to encourage them to stick around after their time in college is done.
I would echo. Oh, sorry. So I would echo that. And this is where the role of a mentor or having at least a component, if you don't have a specific identified mentor for that intern, I think whoever is filling that role, that would be a key element in making the intern feel connected with what they have done.
One other thing that we've done from time to time is offered part-time work. If they went to a university that was close enough to us, we've offered part-time work throughout the semester. We've also had interns come back to help on like their winter breaks. So they usually get a good chunk of time in December and January. They've come back to help in that capacity from time to time, and that just kind of keeps them engaged. And then the following summer, they want to come back and intern with us again, or upon graduation, they've got even more experience under their belt to potentially be ready for a full-time role if we have one open.
Great tips, all of you. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. We do want to let our WCMA members know about a few resources that we offer through the association to help in your efforts to establish and maintain an internship program. First, we invite members to join us at Cheese Expo in Milwaukee in April of this next year for an in-person job fair. We're partnering with the Collegiate Dairy Products Evaluation Contest, which involves many universities nationwide with students who are in a dairy-related fields. They come to our Cheese Expo and they judge cheeses. They evaluate those cheeses. But before they do that, they come to our job fair. So we've got a built-in audience of about 80 students who come to that and are really interested in interning or working for your companies. So we're excited about that. It's a low-cost opportunity, an easy way to connect with students, really nationwide. In addition to those contest students, we also invite UW system students and Wisconsin Technical College students and a few select high school programs, folks who are connected to FFA, and a couple of ag high schools that we have both in Wisconsin and also in Chicago, which we found to be close enough to Milwaukee to have a group of students come to that as well. So we invite you to register for that. Just let me know if you'd like to have a booth. You could send me an email or visit withcheesemakers.org for more information. We also want to let you know about the WCMA Internship Exchange. And there's lots of information on our website about this as well. We currently accept applications from students nationwide who are interested in production, machine operation, maintenance, packaging, quality assurance or food safety, marketing, accounting, and human resources. And when we receive those internship applications, we redistribute them to anybody that's in their chosen areas, geographic areas for an internship. So let me know if you'd like to engage a little bit more in that. And with our final 30 seconds, I just want to invite you to join us again in December when our members only webinar will focus on the wealth of resources available to you through our friends at Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. From market research to food safety guidance, valuable business connections, you want to know all that DFW has to offer. So you can register now at withcheesemakers.org. Finally, I just want to thank our presenters one more time for sharing their energy and their expertise and their time with us today. What you're doing is so important. And Cade, we hope you stick with dairy processing. We want you back as soon as you graduate. And thanks to all of our members who devoted some time to this subject today. Thanks for what you do. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.